How many times have you said to yourself, you need to cut back on buying yarn? It's fairly common and it might be for a bunch of reasons. I know with holidays coming up, I might be thinking, oh, I need to devote some of my extra spending money, towards gifts. Maybe saving up for something big, unexpected bill. There's a bunch of different reasons. And cutting back on yarn buying could be for a short time, it could be for a long time. It doesn't really matter. But today when I heard this suggestion, it really sunk in and made me think that this was pretty applicable to what we do here. Do you want to know what I heard? So it was someone talking about eating healthy and avoiding snack food, which we've probably all been there a time or two. Like what she was saying is it can be so hard to tell yourself, oh, I'm not eating any chips or I'm not eating any Oreos or whatever your preferred junk food might be. It's like it gets in your brain and you just hear it and you think about it and you want to do it more. And she was like, it's so much easier to focus on adding healthier foods to my meal and just kind of hoping that, it makes it easier to avoid eating the foods that aren't good for me. Yeah, I have heard that before in relation to nutrition, and it does make sense. In theory, it should make you less hungry for the junk food. I know there are a ton of variables, but I feel like this almost works even better for our yarn and our yarn buying. And let me tell you why I think this. The minute we start putting limitations on ourselves and saying things like, you can't buy anything, you have enough, you don't need any more, things like that, I think instinctually we either feel a little bit of the scarcity mentality keeping in. And if you are interested in my struggles with scarcity mentality, I will link a video up here. It's a little bit different than this one, but it might still be interesting for you. And hearing oh, you can't, you're on a yarn diet, it's a no buy month, that little voice in my head creeps in and I'm like, well, what if I miss a good sale? What if I need to buy something? And, it just kind of chirps in my ear a little bit. When in reality, I have a bunch of yarn that I absolutely love. And I have talked about my use first bin in different videos, but now I want to do a little bit of an update for you so you can really see what it is in application and see if this might be a trick that you could use as well. Because by having my use first bin right here when I first walk into my yarn room / guest room, I have it here, I can see it, and I'm immediately greeted with yarns that I love. Instead of having to take the little curtain off my closet door, go in, dig around in the dark, try to find something, and it just leaves me with that searching feeling where when I have this bin waiting for me, it's kind of like coming home to finding a healthy home-cooked meal already prepared for me. So I hope that makes sense and that doesn't seem like too much of a stretch. But if I walk in this room and don't see any yarns immediately that jump out at me, I might start having those wandering feelings of thinking that I need to cruise some of the different websites or check out the sale emails or even go to a store. And please know that in no way am I telling you to buy less yarn. If you enjoy buying yarn and it fits in your budget and your schedule and in your house, definitely go for it. I'm just talking to those people who maybe have been in the same position or just feel like, okay, maybe I should cut back just a little bit. So I'm going to pull my use first bin up here, and I will be honest, the lid doesn't fit on it. So it is spilling over a little bit. I started out having everything nice and neat layered in there, and it turned out all the ones that I wanted to use first were kind of at the bottom. And I don't mind digging. Like I said, this is just for me in here. And if a guest does need to stay in this room, I can easily put this in the closet. No problem. So it's okay if it's messy. But I use a big clear tote. It's heavier than you'd think. To me, that works better because I can see what's in it from the side as well, and it's not so much of a mystery. when I started, what I did was I just went through my closet, which is where I store my yarn, and started pulling out the yarns that I thought I would want to use for fall and winter. And I'll probably do this again in a change of season and pull out maybe some of my lighter yarns, more plant-based yarns, and put them in for like my spring summer type of crochet. So your use first bin it can rotate, it doesn't have to just be this forever. What I found when I started pulling out a lot of the yarns I wanted to use first is that I was like, oh, some of these are kind of used second, because I felt like as I pulled these out for fall, like it's a great fall yarn right there, I felt like some of them I was pulling out were definitely more winter yarns, which is fine. And sometimes it's nice to do some crocheting for winter in the fall so it's ready for you. But I did find that it did kind of help me categorize a little bit more and prioritize what I did actually want to use first. And not everything that I put in here, I'm going to end up not using. And it can go back in my closet for a later date. I had pulled out this Bernat Strata. It's a discontinued yarn I had gotten at Joann's. And I thought this would be perfect for, I kind of wanted to do a skull project for October, like either one of those lost, what is it called, like the Lost Souls shawl, or I had found another scarf, but I'm just not going to get to it this year. I still love the idea, and I've got a couple patterns in my Watch Later playlist on YouTube. I've got a couple of those marked, but I'm just not going to get to it, but I still want to use this yarn for it. So when I do switch these out, this will just go right back. Pulled out all of these fall and winter yarns, and like, they're everything that I love. It is all amazing yarns. There's so many like colors that I love, textures that I love, prints and patterns that I love, that honestly, if I come in here and I look at this bin, I don't feel any scarcity. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many things that I love right here. I don't need to shop at all. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. So really, it's just all about a perspective shift and just looking at things slightly different and really making it easy for myself to find the yarns I love. So I really feel full, you could say, of the yarns that I love, and I don't feel that longing or that scarcity or that FOMO, feeling of missing out feeling. This easy trick might not be for everyone, but I would encourage you to give it a try, since it literally cost me nothing to do this. I had a bin already. I know, like, I feel like everybody has some bins. It doesn't have to be a clear tote. You could use a basket. You could use any type of receptacle that you want for it, that you already have in your house. And like I said, the yarns were already in my closet. They just needed to be looked at and dug through and, really just pulled out and assembled in one spot so I could see how many I have that I absolutely love. The key to this working is not limiting myself and saying that I'll never buy yarn, or I won't buy yarn for a month or 2 months or 3 months, because when I hear that, that little bit just clicks on and it kind of makes me want to go look. So I'm not doing that. I'm just replacing what would I say? Like, I'm just making it easy for myself to see the great yarns I already have, to kind of replace that feeling of wanting something else better, because now I can actually see how great this stuff is. I would love to know if you've tried something similar, or if you've thought about this way, or if you think I'm like completely off my rocker. Like I said, I have been using my use first bin here for a few months and really been enjoying it. And I actually started out with a tiny one and had to graduate to this big one because when I set out to look for like my yarns I loved, it turns out I had a bunch that I really do love a lot and want to turn into projects. But this like perspective shift is something that literally I just heard this morning. I mean, I'd heard it 100 times regarding food, but the first time I had heard it really and thought about how it applied to me and yarn and budgeting for yarn purchases. This yarn out of my scarf is made out of was a fairly recent purchase as well, and I'm glad I didn't limit myself to this. I really love it. It is Stroll from Knit Picks. It came in a mini pack, and I have a video I will link up here if you are interested in it. It's really soft. It is a wool blend, and I have been enjoying it a lot, even though we've only been into fall for such a short time. I've been enjoying wearing this already. So let me know what you think. Would this strategy work for you? I am always looking for new strategies and really trying to look at different ways to accomplish my goals. So I appreciate you listening to me today and just seeing how, like I said, I would love to know how you feel about this, and I will talk yarn again with you soon. Bye.